Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, or good evening, depending on where you are. Um, you may be aware that a group of us went away for a few days training last week. It was a good crack, definitely a good crack. Um, so we're a little bit hyper from that, and Brian's decided to delete all his cameras from his system. So you know, obviously it's a little bit of a fallout problem.
Hold on. What? I didn't delete them.
Well, nobody else did.
It just did it itself. It just did it. Opened OBS this morning. Poof! All gone.
That's
So,
your story. You're
assisting me
sticking
today,
to.
I've got the A team. I got the wonderful Ruby,
Hi, everyone.
the rude Mike,
Good afternoon and welcome, everyone.
and angelic Joe,
Oh,
Hi, everyone.
and of course we're stuck with Brian as well.
You're stuck with me for temporarily. I might have to fall out, but we'll see how it
Yeah,
goes.
Brian might have to drop out and go and do something else, but hopefully he'll be able to stay for a while.
Yep. Wait.
So,
I've,
I'm going to
I've
take
been
this
trying
off
to
the lathe before I start.
follow.
So let's just pretend I'm not here at the minute. I'll just do
Oh.
that.
I've been trying to follow with Brian for years.
Yeah, that's not going to work. That's not going to work, Walt.
Doesn't succeed.
So what I'm turning today is this bit of holly. Just going to make a bowl. As you can see, there's a bit of damage on that side. Trouble with holly is it rots while it's still growing. It's hard to get a clean piece of holly, but it's still very pretty. So I'm going to turn it and probably have to hand sand something and make a feature out of that bit. Now, after my little flying off the lathe event last week, I'm going with a face plate with 7 screws in it. So it should be staying on this time. The piece is let's get rid of my support team, put them in the background.
That's a good idea.
Piece is 8 inches across, 4 inches deep.
I have to say, Pete, you could have possibly stretched to the one more screw to make it 8.
I couldn't because that screw hole is over a void, which
right, okay. If it was Brian, it would just be saving screws, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I only put 3 in it.
Yeah.
Wise choice, Pete.
But it's a pretty piece. It's going to have some voids and some interest in it. I'll just charge extra for those bits.
Not be the £10 inclusion, is it?
The £10 inclusion. Now, we were on the course. And,
oh God, look at him showing off already.
Well, you should turn it sideways so we can read it.
No, isn't that lovely? Glenn signed this tool. Oh.
And there was tools there, and I looked at these tools whilst we were drinking our coffee every day, and I just couldn't come away without any. So I bought a few tools. So it's the first time I've used this tool. It is the Glenn Lucas profile that we were using on the course. So I've used the profile, but not this particular tool. So let's get started on it.
Well, you did use those tools while you were there, didn't you?
Yes. Use the profile. So whilst I knock this into shape, somebody could let me know who's in.
That'll be me. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Now, don't be sighing already, Mr. Walt. Anyway, we have Jennifer Crafton Creations. We've got the Gentleman Woodturner, Michael McEwen, Ruby Clare, Doug Miller Woodspun Round, Jim Matthew, Gerard the French Turner, Chris Dodds. We have Brian at Woodturning.
That's me.
I know. Terry Bartlett. We have Todd at Glen Cove Woodworks. We've got Roger Kent, Rex B. Greg Alexander. Wiley Woodshed. Shane Hurst.
And drop my toolbox a little bit.
Oh dear. Spirit Wind, Woodstone and Bone, that's Heather. We've got Woodwork
Beast.
Learner, Andy, hi.
Hello, Andy.
Opera Woodturning,
Rob.
Dr. Bob, Trevor Reed. There's a question there. Robert Buchanan, Tommy's Workshop. Mike Waltz, the Yorkshire Git.
Mike Walton.
Good Ingham. We've got 42 people in Pete, and we've got a question. Let me just go back.
Stop whispering.
Rex B. Did you sharpen it or did Glenn Lucas? And what is the grind, please?
These are sharpened by Glenn, and I won't be sharpening these tools until I have copied the profile onto my other tools, because part of the reason for buying them is they're a reference, because my memory is shocking, and if I've got something to copy, then I can compare my own tool sharpened to that grind. When I've got that down proper, then I will sharpen these properly and use them fully. But at the moment, they are literally out of the bag, sharpened by Glenn.
Yeah, but I mean, Glenn sharpens his tools on the tour make system, and it's just at 45 degrees. That's all he does.
Yeah.
So it should be a fairly straightforward copy of a grind. Although you'll be doing it on a pro edge, so you'll get a flat grind instead of a kind of concave grind.
I'm going for a parallel tenon here, so there was absolutely no reason to use that tool apart from the fact, as I keep saying, you have to justify your purchases.
Yep.
Buy lots of tools, you've got to keep using them.
$12.99 does not come off, doesn't grow on trees, does it, Pete?
Nope.
So what you're saying, Pete, is that your chuck doesn't have dovetail jaws.
Correct.
No, this is a C jaw. So it's got a tooth jaw rather than a dovetail.
We've got David J. Heath and Woodworm Paul have joined us. Oh,
Hi,
and
guys.
Steve Fleming. And there's a question for you, Brian. Are you on tonight? Malcolm Douglas.
No, I'm not. But keep your eyes open, because I think Steve at SK Crafts is going to cover my slot tonight, I think.
Okay.
I'd like to mention this comment by Chris Dodds earlier on. Mike, are you breathing like that, just so we know that you're still alive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mike
is actually Darth Vader.
It's wonderful being... No, he was on about when I was heavy breathing when Joe started the list, I think.
All right.
Well, you were just excited to be here with all of us, Mike. That's all there was to it.
I know, you're so right, Ruby. Well, especially you, my dear. Especially you.
Oh, listen to the crawling of that.
This is one of the tips that we got on the course. If you do a slight OG here as your foot, rather than having a step to the foot, then you can sand it in one piece, which makes sanding easier.
It does.
This will actually cut a lot better once I get past all these voids.
It's very dry.
It is very dry, this piece, yeah.
Is it a little bit punky?
It's yeah. It's holly. You're always going to get some funky bits in holly. It's not possible to get perfect holly, in my opinion. You can get small pieces that will get absolutely spot on, or you can cut it green and it'll be okay, but it'll rot whilst it's still growing. So when you get bigger pieces, they tend to be voids and bits in them that are rotten.
Yeah, that's
hopefully
not
we're
a
going to lose
tree
most
we
of that.
get here. The holly we get here is just a shrub.
We get, I mean, it's mostly a shrub here, but we do get, I've had it up to 12-inch diameter. So you can get some big bits, but it's not common. As I said, the bigger they are, the more likely they are to be rotten when you get them.
Some lovely spalting, which is otherwise a fairly bland, creamy wood, isn't it?
Yes.
If you get like branch pieces, they're almost pure white.
Yeah, and they're lovely to turn, but they're featureless, aren't they?
Really good for
They'd be good
taking
for
colour,
colouring,
though,
though,
Mike.
wouldn't they?
You know, good for colouring, Mike. Yeah.
Yes, I understand they are.
Not that you would know, of course.
No. I think actually you'll take note of this this turning, Brian, because you know Peter's showing you that you don't have to have tool marks even if you've got voids.
Yeah, I know, mate.
Yeah.
Woodwork
What I'd really
learner.
like here is some more speed, but I'm not going to get it until I get a bit more balance on it.
Woodwork learner questions, is it very light compared to an ash blank the same size?
Yes, it is lighter. Not very light. Probably about the same as beech, I would say. But most things are lighter than ash. I mean, I think even oak is probably lighter than ash. And it's better. Up to 1,000 RPM there, which is quite acceptable.
No, Gerard, I am not having an SK114. Thanks for asking. And with regards to not turning up in Cork, I thought you were coming up to see us, Gerard. That must have been a miscommunication somewhere.
How far away is Cork from Boris?
Don't know. Gerard, how far away is Boris from Cork?
Probably go for overhead on that, shouldn't I?
Did anybody mention that Mark was in?
Both are good.
Yes.
Oh, hello, Mark.
Dr. Bob makes a good point. He says 60 years ago, when he was working in his grandfather's shop, he ground examples on both ends of short tool stock as examples to sharpen his tools for Bob to follow. So if you have a gouge that you've got pretty much worn down, that's something you could do with the metal, is just grind it to this grind that you want and have it as an example.
Yeah.
The way Glenn sets his sets the wing length is he measures the bar, the width of the bar, and he transfers that onto the from the tip as far down the bar as it comes, and that's the length of his wing.
All right. Okay.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the only one that's different to that is the what is jokingly called a bottom feeder, or just a standard ground gouge. He measures the width of the bar and he does it half the length.
Right.
That's how Glenn does it.
As a matter of interest, on Glenn's, I can't see from here, the wing itself, does it sort of curve down to the nose, or is it straight to the nose?
It has a
This
little
is
curve
yeah, convex. This is
from the heel to the tip.
Yeah,
right. English 1/2 inch, American 5/8. This is at 55 degree.
Right.
The
Fine. Go on.
The next size down is at 45 degree.
Yeah.
Clive Rogerson is in the chat.
Lovely shape
Oh,
to that,
so-
Pete.
Good afternoon, Clive.
So Jared
What?
says that Cork to Boris is 191 kilometres.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah.
it's a
As I
fair
said
old
in the
distance.
chat, our chauffeur was too drunk to drive about 10 minutes after the course each day, so that was it.
What? That's, who's the chauffeur?
That would be you.
Glyn.
Oh, that would be me. Oh, that certainly wasn't Glenn. He'd be sleeping.
Norman Greenwell's joined us. Good afternoon, Norman.
Hi, Norman.
So, out of interest, Pete, does Glenn use the 45 degree to hog wood away, as it will, or what does he use the two different
He
grinds
uses
for
the
then?
tool that Pete's using now.
Yeah,
It's the
He
usual.
he uses that a lot, and he uses the smaller gouges, like a 3/8 or something, for finishing cuts.
right.
So he does
And have
most
they
of the
got
work with a big tool, yeah.
Have the smaller ones got 45 degrees then?
Yes.
Or, right, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, right. So Rex has said, so 55 degrees is for roughing out and 45 for finishing.
Basically, that's
Yeah.
kind of, it's maybe a little bit more complex than that, but that's the gist.
In a
Yeah.
nutshell.
But he'll use the 45 to, like Pete's doing now, to use the 55 rather to do the shaping and the final finishing cut with the 45.
Yeah, I mean, basically the only difference is the
essentially.
wings are shorter.
Yeah. Okay.
Aston has joined us. Welcome, Aston.
I
Hi,
asked him.
Aston.
Afternoon and welcome.
Trevor's having to return to work.
Oh no,
So he's
Trevor.
have to go. See you
Enjoy.
later, Trevor.
It's coming out lovely.
It's
That's a
Really?
lovely
got
bit
some
of.
lovely green pattern in it.
Gorgeous figure.
Yeah. I'm going with the foot.
Absolutely.
Don't like the shape of that. I'm going to take this foot down a little bit and just run the curve a bit more smoothly than that.
Suits
So,
your purposes
That
in.
pudding
we've got some
bowl I showed
speed
him.
now, so yeah, we've got some speed going now, so I can cut better now. It's moving a bit faster.
Andy's
Got
asked me a
53
question.
people walking. Watching.
Sorry, Joe. Andy's
Sorry,
asked me
no,
a
it's okay.
question there. He says, Brian, any sign of when you're getting your carrier pigeon improvement? Well, they were out here at the weekend with a whole squad of traffic management people and 2 engineers. So apparently they've checked all the cable between my house and the green cabinet fibre box or whatever you want to call that, and it's fine. So they're now blaming the hub that's supplied by BT, which is a different company, obviously, from OpenReach. So they are sending me a hub out today. In fact, I just had a text about 5 minutes ago to say it was on its way.
Right.
So that should be here tomorrow or Wednesday. I have to set it up and test it and see how it goes. Basically, it's like another case of suck it and see. Will it work?
Yeah.
Gerard, the French turner, wants to confirm whether or not Glenn has a 10 horsepower extraction system.
He does.
At least.
Actually, maybe bigger than 10 horsepower. It is massive.
It's
That's why Terry couldn't go, because he would have been sucked into the system.
I've got a picture of it for Terry because I think that's what Terry
Yeah.
needs in his workshop.
I'll tell you how he told us the story when it was first installed, and he was actually out of the room at the time, and the windows were closed, the doors were closed, or the door to the outside was closed, the door to the inside was open. Glenn was in the toilet, and one of the students switched the extractor on, and he couldn't open the toilet door.
And he's there to this day. Yeah.
Well, it's a good place to be stuck.
Yeah. It's a real powerful system, and even with there was 6 of us on lathe, and he was on his at the same time, so there were the 6 got a blast gates, 7 blast gates were open. Yeah, you could feel your hand being sucked into it.
Good
Good.
grief.
It's a huge extracting system.
But was it noisy?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yes. Not too bad because it was outside, but obviously it's not something you want in an urban environment.
No,
Mm.
no, he's
Um,
Glen is right out in the countryside. There's no neighbours nearby.
Pete, are you going to round the top edge on this?
I'll work that backwards, I think, because I want to see what my voids are like when I get there.
Okay.
But yeah, I think. No, actually, I think I will do it now. I've got. Don't know if you can see it on camera.
Yeah.
I've got this little bit here I want to get rid of, which is only 1/4 inch down into the top. So if I round that far, then I'll lose that, and I'll get a better idea of where I'm going.
Yeah, I usually shape my top edge at this time because that helps me visually look at the shape of my bottom coming up to the top better.
Yes,
That's actually a good idea, really.
but yeah, I've no idea how the rim's going to work out properly yet because I've got this void goes right the way into the bowl.
Hmm.
Right.
So that'll be a feature I'll be looking at. But yeah, let's bring
Oh,
that around.
So we've got Ash
Hodgepodge has joined us. Welcome, Robert.
and Ash from Tapies.
Hi, Robert. Welcome.
I Robert.
Mark Stratton's in.
Mark Stroughton. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, babes. Oh no, that's Jennifer says that. Sorry.
Careful, Brian. We're going to start worrying about you.
I don't care, Ruby. Worry away.
Brian is a bit of a worry, I've got to say.
Yeah, of course I'm a bit of a worry. I worked out that when I was, you know how I've got suffered a bit with heartburn, Pete. You know.
Yeah.
I didn't have heartburn once when we were away.
Really?
So yeah, I didn't have it once. So I can
I
narrow
think
it down to two. I can narrow it down to 2 things. It's either I need to drink more, or
That'll
eat
be
less,
it.
or eat less bread, because I didn't eat any bread when I was away, apart from a little tiny slice of toast for a breakfast in the morning. And I normally
Wow.
would eat anywhere between 4 and a dozen slices of bread a day. So I wonder, is it the beer or is it the bread?
Let's
There's
hope it's the
beer.
bread.
Glyn says enough beer is the answer.
I think what it is, Brian, you were that out of it that you didn't notice the heartburn. It was there,
No,
but
I was never
you
that
were
bad.
numb. You were numb to it.
I'm going
It
with
was
that
never
shape,
that
Ruby.
bad. We did have a fair amount of
Okay.
beverage, but we didn't overindulge.
You broke Glyn twice.
No, well, that was more tiredness on Glenn's part because he'd been standing at a lathe for 8 hours
He
that
did
day.
have a habit of breaking quite quickly, I've got to say.
He did, 2 nights in a row. And he had the cheek to call me a lightweight.
Well, Robert says, Brian, that maybe it's Michelle that gets your heart warmed.
Oh, that could be it. Yeah.
No doubt. Most men need a good woman to look after.
Oh, I totally agree, Ruby.
Yep. Couldn't agree more, Ruby.
We must be setting a record, Mike. You've agreed with me a few times today.
Careful.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I'm
Dangerous to be in.
gonna start lowering the bar a bit. I think.
I have to say, Ruby, I was just about to phone 999 there. Definitely not well.
I won't make a habit of it, Ruby. I promise.
Mark says the Yorkshire Git is a delicate little flower.
Well,
He is.
Yep,
Yeah.
delicate, but not so little.
Yeah. He's a
That's
bit
right.
I
like
don't
a
know how this is going to work because I've got my mask on just for this.
It's fine, mate.
Um,
I hear you, mate.
sounds fine, Darth.
Just want to start sanding this rough bit with the rock bits in it.
Okay.
I'm confused by Andy's statement there. He says, Brian, when it comes to beer, even fish follow you. Not sure. Not sure what that means, to be honest.
I think I got it.
What he's
Oh,
trying to say
Michael.
is that you drink a lot.
Why? Here's a sensible solution, says Michael McEwen says. Brian, it could be either or both. My son was having the same issue and has recently been diagnosed with celiac disease.
Ugh.
Hmm.
How interesting. I must look that up, Michael. Thank you for that. What grit sandpaper is that you're using, Mr. Pete?
Mr.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Oh.
No,
We'll have to assume it's 80 grit then.
It sounds like 93.5 grit to me, to my experience here.
Douglas Mongan says, question, Pete, Brian and Glenn. Did you bring back any hints, tips and tricks? Oh yes, we did, Douglas. They will be revealed as we go along.
So that was a 120 grit on a 3-inch pad. Can you hear me there?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
I'm using a
120 grit
3-inch
on a
pad, so
3-inch
it steps
pad.
over these voids. If I use a 2-inch one, it would tend to get caught more.
Okay.
So I like a bigger pad on
Doug Miller has joined
wood
the
with
debate.
holes in it.
Yeah, wood with holes, yeah. You've always got wood with holes. Doug Miller's joined the debate. He says carbs will cause heartburn. But there's carbs in everything.
I found it's more things like tomatoes,
Yeah.
real spices,
Acid.
acidic things,
Okay.
fats, like even butter and stuff like that will set it off. Green peppers, red and orange or yellow are fine, but green peppers seem to set it off as well.
Okay.
I'm just
And
checking out for a
spicy
second.
meats like sausages will set it off.
I'll not be able to eat anything at this rate.
Hey,
No,
you'll lose weight.
your
You'll
trigger's
come
obviously
down
bread.
to,
So
Sorry, Ruby.
bread
What
out.
did you say?
well, you come down to a fighting weight.
Ooh. Ooh. I can't afford to lose much more weight, Ruby. I'm not that.
Well, you're going to be about the size of my husband then.
I'm only about 13 stone.
Well, after he spent 3.5 months in hospital, he lost so much weight he's down to 90 pounds.
Wow. That is low, isn't it?
I was trying to think what I could do that would land me in the hospital for that length too.
Right.
Okay, so that's I think all of the rot has gone from that, apart from a little bit there. So that is now all sound wood, so we're good.
Brent has joined us. Good morning, Brent.
Hi, Brent.
And Matt's having to leave us. He's got to go and do his chores. Apparently.
Well,
Bye
it's
for now,
good
Mark.
that a young man knows he has chores to do.
So I've just done the conversion because I am roughly away at 86 kilos. That's what I weigh. That's 189 pounds for those Americans. And you do pounds as well, don't you, Ruby?
Yes, we do pounds.
189 pounds. I could do with losing a few of them. It's too much.
I've reached the weight where the scale say, "Will one of you get off?"
I would want
One
to
at a
get off.
time.
Yeah.
That's what our scales say.
One at a time, please. And Doug Miller says, speaking of your husband, Ruby, how is he doing these days?
He's doing really well. He's middle of September. We're hoping that the neck brace will come off, and but he's still going to have to use a walker when he walks,
Okay.
just because his balance is not that good.
Okay.
But he's lucky that he wasn't paralyzed or anything from his fall.
Yeah,
Just
he
for
is.
those who aren't aware, my husband tripped in January and broke his neck.
Right.
But I'm
This
starting
is
to give him more
Lebron
and more.
sanding sealer, diluted 50-50 with cellulose thinners, which I find it penetrates into the wood better like that.
Is that
I
chestnut
was
one,
about
did you
to-
say?
Now this is Lebron.
Lebron, okay.
I
I'm
was
a
about
fan
to
of
ask you
Lebron
what it
ones.
was.
Yeah, I quite like Lebron stuff too as well.
That is coming out absolutely gorgeous.
It is.
And Douglas Mungham says, Pete, that looks stunning.
It is a lovely wood. Once it gets a bit of spalting, as Mike said earlier, it's quite bland when it's completely fresh. Once you get a bit of spalting, it really comes into its own.
Now, Ivy Woodshed says buy an SK114 and you'll shed plenty of pounds, Brian.
Yeah, 300 of them. I haven't got 300. I've only got 189. I can't afford to buy an SK114 and lose all the impounds. I've no intentions of buying an SK114. Oh,
Joe, you put that label on upside down.
There may be
Ah.
trouble ahead. Oh no, that's singing. Sorry.
Michael says, it looks like you've been doing brain surgery, Pete. The pattern in the wood, I would think.
Yeah, it's particularly there. It's a little bit.
Busy.
It's almost bud-like, isn't it?
Mm.
It is, yeah. But
And
yes,
Douglas Mungham says, Pete, I hope that one's not going in the burner.
we'll see.
If so, I will have it, he says.
We'll see how it goes. No, I don't think this one will.
I have a feeling not.
There's still time for me to stuff it up yet, though.
And I suspect that it
No,
might be
no,
out
now
to message
think,
Lisa.
think positive, Pete. It's going to come out great.
It's coming out great, Ruby. My whole remit is to make shavings, and this bit of waste that's left on the lathe at the end of the making the shavings, well, you know, we've got
That's
oil
what it is
somewhere.
now.
That is absolutely stunning.
Oh, you're back.
And dropping the speed down.
Yeah, I did apologise. I had to go.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. That is gorgeous, isn't it?
Yep.
Dropping the
Is
speed
it?
down to about 400 RPM.
It's Holly, Brent.
One of the main reasons for dropping the speed is Yorkshire Grit is a semi-liquid paste. And if you turn on at 4,000 RPM, then there's none left on the wood, but it's all over your grasses and workshop.
In front of your t-shirt, never else, yep.
Yeah.
Hands that feel pity can be
Oh,
soft
no.
as your face with light brown Yorkshire gritty.
Oh.
One of the
Son
things
must
that came up,
apologise for the lack of a health warning before that. Sorry, guys.
one of the things
Got a
that came up during
gorilla
the
in the.
course is there's still people out there who believe that this is a finish.
There
It
are.
is-
I can't, and I don't understand why they do, because all of us guys who are kind of supported stress all the time that it is an abrasive paste, not a finish.
And it says on the label, Yorkshire Grit,
Says it on the
Woodturning
tin.
abrasive paste. This is effectively sanding.
Mhm.
So I've sanded up to 240, and the grit in this starts at say 320 or 300-ish. So it's the next step up from 240, and as it breaks down, it shatters rather than wears. So you get smaller and smaller particles. So you get a finer grit. So that's how it works. Quite
All the
simple,
way down
really.
to all the way down to about 1,000 grit. And Dewey Shed has joined us. Hi, Dewey.
And
Oh,
Terry
Dewey.
Hooper.
And Terry Hooper.
has joined us.
Woodwork.
It's Holly, Terry.
I think
What
it's
isn't
worthwhile.
widely known
Sorry,
is
go on.
that Glyn scours the coves around Scarborough, and he finds all the discarded engagement rings from broken up relationships. Because when you crush those diamonds, they make the perfect grit because they've got the tears of the
Now, careful what you say next.
fiancés mixed up into the diamond, and that's what grit's made of.
The imagination there, Pete.
If you tell me next there's unicorn poo in it.
I wasn't going to mention. I thought that was the secret ingredient.
Yeah.
Donna's in. Love Angel.
Hello, Donna.
Woodwork Learner suggests that he needs a T-shirt that says either "Making Sawdust" or "From Firewood to Firewood."
Oh, that's a great T-shirt. Firewood to firewood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a picture of a lathe in the middle. Firewood to firewood. Yeah, that would
Yep,
work.
I can make firewood smaller.
Somebody asked a question.
Yeah, topic.
Who asked that question? It was I've lost it.
A
Robert, I
great
think. Yeah,
T-shirt
Robert.
would be from a log to a toothpick.
Yeah.
Yes.
12-inch log.
So Robert from Hodgepodge is asking, Pete, what were your thoughts on Glenn's Vic Mark lathes?
I've always been a fan of Vic Marks anyway. They didn't let me down.
I've always liked their chuck. Mind you, I have about 4 of them, so.
If you compare lathes to cars, you got a perfectly good Ford, Dodge, whatever car which does the job nicely. Then you've got Audis that do the job with a little bit more finesse. And then you've got your Bentleys and your Rolls Royces that are a class above. And they all do exactly the same job. They get you from one place to another. But some of them do it with a little bit more style. And the Vic Mark is towards the top end of that range.
Yep, I agree.
It's a
I
very
find
nice
them very
lathe.
good, and I agree with you, Ruby, that the chucks are very, very nice.
Yeah, Dr. Bob says semi-liquid. Is it more liquid than paste at 38 plus degrees?
Yes.
He's-
If it gets
he's
above,
got-
if it gets
he's
above,
got-
sorry.
Dr.
Go ahead,
Bob lives just across the river from me, and we've been having a lot of very hot weather. So
At 38 degrees, I'm more liquid than solid.
Yep. At that kind of temperature, keep it in the fridge, guys.
I have to
Okay.
say, I've never seen a piece of holly look as beautiful as that.
Me neither.
Absolutely stunning. One thing I'd like to mention, to be boring, I get asked quite a lot, why use Yorkshire grit? Because it's an extra stage, blah, blah, blah. One of the main reasons for Yorkshire grit is that once you've sanded to 240 and really irradiated your lines, Yorkshire grit takes over, and it's above 240, the finer particles, there's no dust in the air. So that's one of the major benefits of using Yorkshire grit. You don't have to sand to 600 whatever, and Yorkshire grit, I believe, when it's finally worked in, goes up to about 1,000 grit.
1,000 grit
like
for original, 2,000 for microfine.
Yeah, which is ideal for hardwoods and resin, of course.
Yep.
now
Absolutely.
I want to add one detail there. If you are doing spindles or something that is going to be dyed, don't sand above 120, because if you do, you fill the pores and it won't take the stain.
I'm
Right.
going to put a bit of wax on it. I like this Hampshire Sheen. It's Carnauba, which is a lovely wax, mixed with microcrystalline, which is a nice bit of
Hard.
petrochemical hardness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a nice mix. But
Yep.
the other reason for using it on lives in particular is that pretty much as soon as you put it on there, it's ready to buff. Whereas other waxes, you might need to go and make a cup of coffee, which is really good when you're in a workshop, but it's not so good when you're doing a live.
Now you have a question about whether or not you're going to put a taper on that tenon, or if you're going to treat us to a quote mic moment.
Thank
I
you.
have
mean-
C jewels on, which are a tooth jewel, so
You
it's
mean
not going to
like-
be tapered. This wood is soft. If it was a hard wood, something like you, something that is hard to
Compress.
modify, I would put a small groove in the bottom of it, just
Well,
to
you
give the
still-
tooth a starting point.
What you basically have to do is you make your tenon the shape of the jaws that you have on your chuck.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tenons and mortise, any chuck mount, they should match as close as possible to what you've got on the chuck.
Correct.
And
And
it's
if you're in any doubt about what it is, read the manual.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very, the number of times I'm sure everybody else has had questions like that. Well, you know, my wood's flown off the lathe, blah, blah, blah. And you see a 3/4 of an inch gap between each jaw. You're only going to get 8 points of contact there. Your goal is to get the whole of the inside of the jaw in contact with the tenon, or if it's a mortise, the outside of the jaw to be in contact with that mortise to give you maximum hold.
Most jaws are milled from a solid piece and then cut.
Exactly.
So the way Glenn Lucas does it, the way Glenn explains it, as on the Vicmark chucks, he has a set of dividers, which is almost like the the spanners you get for taking the tools off. It's about 6 mil. It's about 6 mil thick, or maybe even less than, maybe about 5 mil thick. He puts that between the jaws, and then closes the jaw onto it, so you can just move it. And that's what he reckons is the optimal size for the Vicmark jaws that he uses with that measure.
Yeah, the rider on that,
look,
all the different Vicmark jaws. You should know what your jaws are designed to do, and you should work within those design parameters.
The one caveat I think which is important as well on the tenons, if you're turning wet wood, you turn your tenon slightly bigger than you need to, because the wood will compress very easily as you're putting downward pressure onto the tenon. So periodically you tighten it up. So you need to have your tenon slightly bigger, in my opinion.
Well, an important fact that a lot of people don't consider is how long their tenon is. Your tenon should not bottom out on the jaws. It should be a hair shorter than the length of the jaw, the depth of the jaws.
And it's important as well, your shoulder is square, so the front of the jaws seat nice and concentrically on that shoulder.
And guess what?
Yours doesn't.
Mine's hair too long.
That's not, is it? You made it too big.
Yeah, you and Ruby decided this was going to happen, didn't you?
Shh.
Right, so I'm going to the other end of the workshop.
So on my record fur jaws, from the face of the jaws to the bottom is 12 mil. So the inside edge, the tenon needs to could be anything from 3 mil to 10 mil if you want it. That's just on the standard 50 mil, 50 and 35 mil jaws.
I don't know how clearly that shows on the camera, but if you look here, there is a 1.5 mil gap between the bottom of the tenon and the bottom of the chuck.
Perfect.
So I'm riding on the front of the jaws, not on the back. As I said, I'm not sure how close that shows up.
It does. You can see it there fine.
Just see the gap, yeah.
Lewis has joined us, and I'm sorry, Lewis, but no, there's no resin today.
I considered it, Lewis, and by the time I'd typed in the R of resin, I decided against it.
So you're going to do a captive ring instead.
Gee, that's not going to happen either.
Now, Robert
did do captive rings on his video, which I legitimized because actually he was doing the right thing. He was making a baby's rattle, and the rings were the function. So in that case, I let him off.
Yeah, fair enough, Pete. I agree. You can, but then he could have made the baby's rattle that rattled on the inside rather than putting rings on. So
yeah.
Well, Robert makes a good point. If you're turning green wood and plan to turn twice, then the tenon will become oval and needs cleaned up. So it needs to be a little bigger initially. In which case, I would use a larger chuck with larger jaws.
That's what I would do, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks a little bit off out of the round there. Andy Woodward Leonard says, Brian, has your captive ring tool gone rusty? How very dare you, Andy? There are none of my tools rusty because I treat them all with machine wax to keep them in good condition. Should you would know that.
I'm just
Douglas is
fiddling with this
commenting.
edge a bit just to see how that works in with my void.
Pete.
Yeah.
Not being pernickety, Brian made a valid point there. Is the it looks a bit off centre.
It
Or
does
is that
look a
the
bit off
void?
centre, but it's
It's the voids, I
not.
presume, is it?
Okay.
No, it's not the voids.
The void and the fact the face isn't flat.
Okay.
He's throwing you out. You can see I've got to sort of decide how I'm going to work this to keep the £10 feature in there. Yeah, if I look at it from this angle, it's wobbling. If I look at it from the back, it's not. So it is just the.
Okay, just passing on a message from Brian.
No, good message.
Oh, that's hot, that tea. Oh. Just made a cup of tea, guys. It's roasting hot. I tried to drink it. Oh.
That cut was a bit of a waste, but it's.
Brian.
Sorry, Ruby. Chris Dodds reckons it's an optical illusion. It could well be.
There's no octopuses in my workshop. Right, so I'm going to use a pencil just to help me decide where I'm going with this. So I'll put a line around there and think, is that the rim?
That's a good idea, using a pencil. I find if you visually look at something before you make the cuts, you get a better feel for what you want to create.
It's much easier to design it before you cut it, because putting the wood back on, even though I do have reverse, is quite difficult.
Yeah. Takes a good deal of skill.
Well, isn't that why they invented resin?
Oh,
Ruby, you said the R word.
no, I don't have any, so I can't.
No, I don't have any either.
Neither do I.
And I'm pleased to say I haven't got any more.
Yeah, Mike, you just poured it all into a big tub and then throw it away.
Woodwork Learner says his balls wobble less than he does.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that size. Don't know if you can see it. It's
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Yep.
You go with that, and I'm going to bring this down in so that I sort of maintain a little bit more of that as I go. Now this is going to be an interesting cut because I've got that void there going right the way where I want to be.
Lewis says if you don't have a badge giving you direction, you need a pencil.
Yeah.
Obviously Terry's up today.
Terry is possibly going to come in later. He's at the opticians at the moment.
May get his eyes checked.
If he can find it.
Yeah, if he can find it. Well, he took Ruth with him, so I'm sure between them they'll manage.
Oh, that's all right, yeah.
Yeah, he's got his carer with him.
He's got his carer. I'm telling him you said that, Pete. Just still a 1/2 inch gauge you're using, Pete?
So I'm on the 5/8,
5/8.
1/2 inch US, 5/8. Sorry, 5/8 US, 1/2 inch UK.
Yeah.
I'm on the big one,
Yeah, big
not
one.
the
Yeah.
medium one, not the
That's
small
right.
one, the big one.
Yeah.
The
Glenn,
big
And
one.
not the silly big one either.
I have to say, Glenn Lucas has it sorted out so there's no confusion with students. It's either the blue gauge, which is the 5/8, the green gauge, or the red gauge. He has them all color coded in his workshop. So when you go to the Tourmec to sharpen, there is he has 3 different what do you call them things, Pete? The little guide things that you put your tool in.
The profiler.
Right, just want
Yeah.
to see what that void's doing in a minute.
Lewis says that getting direction from the vision impaired badge should be on par with advice from him.
And
Glenn
Luke says,
appears to call jig.
Jig, that's it, Glenn, that's what it was, the jig.
You just had a senior moment, Brian.
I
when
did.
You couldn't remember the term.
I'm getting worse. It happens all the time now. I keep forgetting words.
Michelle will keep you right.
But for about half an hour yesterday, I tried to tell Michelle about the honing wheel that I bought, and I couldn't remember the word honing. Just would not come to me.
So you went round the houses trying to explain what it was.
Yeah, just exactly. Yeah.
I had the same problem years ago when I was doing a video, and I couldn't. I must have done about 10 takes. I could not remember the word bushing when I was talking about
Yeah.
bushing for the grinder when I was putting the CBNs on my record power.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't think of the word. And in the end, I just said them round bits of steel with a hole in the middle.
them brassy bits that slide in there.
Yeah.
Pete, will your tool rest angle into the inside of that a bit?
It would, but I'm not actually using that part of the tool rest. See, even when I'm cutting here, my tool is actually on the tool rest right at the beginning of the bowl. Switch off a sec. If I try to look at the screen and say what I'm doing, and I will get a catch. So my tool doesn't really move from here. I'm just pivoting on this point.
Right.
So taking this end in doesn't really help me. In fact, it actually hinders me because you then tend to slide along it and fall off the end of it. But because I'm working entirely from here, then there's no point in angling it in. I could move it a 1/4 inch closer, which I might do in a minute, but not yet. I'm still keeping my eye on that void, deciding what I'm doing with that.
Okay.
But, speed is up just over 1,000. One of the things I did come away from, Glenn, is I'm using a lot less weight on my left hand.
Reason?
Introducing the tool at the proper angle.
That's the one. And it's not just getting it vertical as well. You've got to get the bevel straight in.
Robert's reminding you, Brian, that you had mentioned you wanted to buy that SK114.
Yeah. I was just ignoring that comment there, Ruby.
When you say things, though, people have a tendency to remember them.
Yeah, but I definitely don't remember saying that, and I know for a fact that I didn't say that. So Robert's just stirring it as usual. I'm going to create a wooden spoon for Robert.
It's a big bowl.
A bit of
Are
bad
you
wood
still-
in there somewhere.
Are you still riding the bevel at the bay bottom there, Brian?
I am riding the bevel
okay,
all the way
yeah,
through.
Okay.
I'm getting a problem with that bit there. I don't know if you can see it on the camera.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it through the mic, but you can hear the change in tone as it hits that bit.
Mhm.
It makes you wonder how much wood there is before you hit that.
I've got
void.
about 4 inches through at the moment.
No. What I meant was how oh God, what's the word? Bushing. No. How I can't think of how to explain it. I'm pointing at the screen and I tell you.
You're good like that,
Oh
Mike.
God.
I do that.
How much wood is before?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm gonna mute. Bye.
See you later, Mike.
Now, what you can do, let's get rid of this. What you can do is I've actually got a hole there which I can probe. So that inclusion down there is about 5 mil deep.
That's what I meant to say. Is as you're taking away wood from the shape of the bowl.
My bowl, as I said, is about 4 inches thick. So
Will it disappear?
Yeah, what I'm
It's,
saying is the wood at the top there, the wood that's solid wood at the moment, might only be at one part there, might only be a couple of mil beneath the surface, if you see what I mean. The void
I've got
might only
over an
be
inch to work with. And I've got 5 mil that I want to get rid of.
right. Okay.
Do you want to maybe undercut the rim a bit?
Yeah, that's the plan, Ruby. What I'm going to do is just, whilst I've still got plenty of bulk there, just going to round that rim in. It's going to be
Yeah, Douglas, you're getting a wooden spoon as well.
So I've got my rim sort of falling into the bowl now. And I've got just a bit there which is...
Has Joe fallen out? Is she still here?
No, I'm still here.
Still there.
Just being very quiet. Not like you.
Well, she's out of practice because we took Glyn away. She hasn't had anybody to shout at for a few days.
Benjamin says, I'm working on a new design of Chuck. It's a bit like the SK114, but with extra features. I'm going to call it the SK114.
Has he got strings?
No, he's going to call it the SK114 Ultimate Pro Master 500. He's taking pre-orders tomorrow.
$12.99. That's excellent. Excellent.
Oh,
Good
excellent.
value. Good value.
No,
What's
I
that?
went onto the illegal darknet. And I bought.
Oh, here, that's a good idea. I've got one of those stupid little things too. It's no use to man their base. That's a brilliant idea to do that, Pete.
So hopefully Mark isn't watching because obviously this is completely illegal and copyright invasion and all the rest
Well,
of it.
he did say he was watching, but I don't believe he is.
But so I have
And you only
Right.
goes down to 15.
2 weeks worth of cutting to go yet.
2 weeks.
Well, that's okay. It's we're just coming up on 2 o'clock, Pete, so you've got loads of time.
That'll be fine.
Why have you said, have you got a Kickstarter page yet, Ben?
You can definitely tell your tools are sharp by the nice shavings that are coming off.
Yeah.
I wonder. Oh, I've got a nice piece of oak. Oh, no.
Mark is definitely still watching.
Oh, is he? Oh, dear.
He is,
Yeah.
shut eyes on it.
Seven pairs of eyes looking sideways in shock at that piece of illegal hardware.
The grain reminds me of olive.
This is effectively a bottom feeder gouge, although it's pretty much what we call an English traditional grind. And I've always used it just across the bottom like this. And one of the tips that we got on the course was if you put it into the side and just lift until you get a cut.
Just cut like normal.
Ah,
You get a nice undercut with it as well.
Saying he uses a 9-inch angle grinder to remove it. Well, that'll do it.
Taurus is too low, really. So yeah, you're getting a nice undercut under that rim, which well,
Yeah.
won't even need to sand that as it feels at the moment.
Lewis just said, "Hi, Mark. Looking a bit buggy-eyed there." Said that's how his eyes looked all week last week. Well, nothing to do with the amount of alcohol consumed, of course. Not a thing.
yeah. And this is 45-degree peak, is
No, that's not.
it? Sorry, 65. Sorry. 45, idiot.
Glenn Lucas's personal version of this tool had probably a 3'6" long handle on it.
It did.
And I like the way this tool works once we show you how to use it.
And are you cutting on the left wing or the right wing?
Left wing.
Left wing, okay.
Lewis has just said, after several hours of turning a stabilised bar, it's nice to see actual shavings.
Yeah, see, this stuff is
Real
much
shavings.
nicer than resin.
I think he also has a comment to make about your hair too, Pete.
That's getting personal now.
I know, it's Lucy. No haircut, hair tie. Oops.
No, he's got headphones on. He doesn't need a hair tie.
And another thing I was reminded of, which I actually say regularly, is a good cut is usually a slow tool. If you move the tool slowly and steadily,
Yep.
so you get plenty of time for the lathe to do its work and the tool to do its cutting, you'll end up with a better cut than if you rush it.
And it is easier said than done. It's difficult to maintain a smooth motion from rim to base.
Yeah, Glenn did say, he kept saying, you need to slow down. He didn't mean the lathe.
No.
He meant the speed of travel of the tool over the work.
Yeah.
That's what he
Let
meant.
the wood come down onto the edge.
Yep.
As opposed to forcing it through.
Right.
Which again is easier said than done, because when we're concentrating, especially as amateurs, you tend to sort of get a bit ahead of the game, don't you? You know.
Yeah. You tend to be a bit heavy-handed sometimes.
Yeah,
and
indeed.
try and go too fast.
Yeah.
I certainly did a lot in the past, and
I think
when I first started.
To some extent it's a YouTube problem as well, because
just got to say that, Pete.
you're
Totally
watching
agree.
the clock, you're thinking about stuff, and sometimes you just go a little bit too fast.
Yeah, not so much on edited videos when you're doing lives.
Yeah, when you're doing lives, you're sort of conscious of stuff, and also I'm sure there isn't a turner amongst us who does anything like this, but you like to showboat a bit on YouTube and get big, heavy cuts, heavy shavings.
Mm.
Get the shavings
Um,
flying. Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the best way to get a good cut.
You can still get big, heavy shavings, but just take a slow cut.
Yeah.
Instead of just trying to force it through. Wow. This is.
And it goes for spindles as well. You know, when you take it away waste wood, if you apply the same ethos as a lot of people say with a bowl, every cut is a finishing cut. In other words, take your time over it. It's the same on a spindle as well.
I'd agree
So,
with that.
So I've done my 5mm and that void is still there, but it's okay.
So, Robert Hodgepodge has said, so did you guys tell Glenn to subscribe to all your channels? And did you get him to agree to be a guest on Steve's Friday Live when he has a
No, we
special
didn't.
guest?
No, we didn't. Although we did leave our contact details.
In case he wants any advice, Brian.
Yeah.
Woodwork Learner has noticed that you're doing a better cut now than you did your first lives, Brian. And he's not being rude, he's being complimentary.
Thank you very much, Andy. Appreciate that.
Glenn
but
wants
Andy-
to know if you're going to thin the rim out, Pete.
Sorry, I missed that.
Are you going to, Glenn wants to know if you're going to thin the rim out. It looks a little heavy.
I might taper it a little bit more, but I don't want to go thinner.
You want to lose
'cause
the
I want
body.
to keep this bit. So there's a balance between the two.
I think you could go thinner.
Pencil time.
You could bring the outside up or bring the outside in a bit.
Yeah, if I can bring it in from the outside, I'm still losing the void. So
Yeah, you want to keep the void on the outside.
if I was to go down an eighth of an inch thinner, yeah, that could work. Let's give it a try.
Of course, these
Just cut
are
it
these.
off.
These
If it
are
doesn't work, I'll burn the piece. So it won't
yeah,
matter.
I'll just burn it. It'll be fine. Set a fire in it. We'll just set a fire in the bowl.
Yeah.
These things are design issues, of course, and the sheer fact there's a design issue, everybody will have a different opinion.
Everybody have a different opinion.
Yep.
I do agree that it's not quite in balance. Sometimes you see a feature and you focus too much on that feature. When
Oops.
Don't do that. I'll tell you what. I'll turn the lathe off and I'll do the talking bit first.
Good idea.
You see a feature and you get focused on that feature, and you forget to look at the whole thing. So you sort of zero in on something you shouldn't be.
Right.
Or you try to talk and you screw everything up completely. So
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Bring your handle further to the right and it'll make that corner easier.
Yeah, I recovered that now. Might have a bit of tidying up to do, but I've mostly got that skate out. Stop talking when you're cutting.
Yep. Good plan.
Chris says that if you take your time, it means you don't have time to do the stuff your wife wants you to do.
Well, there's truth in that, of course, but then she just comes to the workshop door, opens the door and says, "Can you do this?"
Yeah,
I see.
I'm luckier than you guys. I don't have a wife to worry
Yeah,
about.
that's true. Michelle was busy talking to a call centre this morning regarding our washing machine. The call centre was somewhere in New Delhi or somewhere, and she was getting really frustrated because she couldn't understand the girl's accent. So she came
I've
into the
run into
workshop.
that a few times.
Yeah, she came into the workshop and says, "Here, you deal with that."
Glenn says that already looks much more elegant, Pete. And
Yeah, I
Douglas
think you're
says,
right.
Pete, it's your ball. See, the final decision is yours, and he's right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Chris Dodd says, "Brian, our wives must be related. Is there a touch of Irish in her, Chris?"
Right,
It
just
doesn't matter how
doing a
small
little
the
shear
touch of
cut
Irish
there
is.
to take off the last bit of that skate that I missed. Cool. So I think we are there.
You should give a warning, Pete, before you put that on camera. You know.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Mark,
Don't
look
mind.
away.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Robert makes a good point. He says another tip I hear often is don't let the size of the wood dictate the shape. Better to have a smaller, nicely shaped ball than a disproportionate ball that you squeeze out of the blank you had.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Agree.
The only caveat there is if you've got a feature you want to keep, then you are restricted by Mother Nature with how deep and how big that void is, if you like. You've got to
Yeah.
work around that.
No, you can't blame Mother Nature. That's your fault because you're making the decision, not her.
Correct.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is she's made the decision.
No,
She's made,
no.
she's made the void.
Well,
And
you
what we
don't
have,
have, you chose to use that piece of wood. It's all
There you
yeah.
go.
your decision.
I'm not knocking Mother Nature. What I'm saying is she's done her job, and it's up to us then to decide what we want to do with
It's
what
our,
she's
jo-
done.
it's our job to enhance it
Exactly.
if we can.
Sorry, Ruby, we disagreed there. Hey, that's good. We haven't
Yeah,
disagreed for a while.
that's a first.
No, it's not a first, but it's
That's
a
the first
first
today.
for a while. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike,
I was actually starting to
Mike,
worry about you, Mike.
Mike, Lewis wants to know how many days did you get off for high temperature and high age?
What?
Oh God, 2.
2 days.
2, Monday and Tuesday.
I
2 days.
didn't get any.
I was told categorically, do not come in.
Really?
Yeah. It's a health and safety issue. I mean, I happen, touch wood, to be fairly fit, but if you're over 70, that's it. There were 5 of us, I think.
Now you see, over here, pretty much everybody has air conditioning.
Yeah, well, that's it. We haven't. I mean, even on the Friday before we had that very hot couple of days, it was over 40 degrees in some of the cabs. So on that day, somebody recorded 44 degrees in the cab, which, you know, you can't do that for 3 or 4 hours at a time
No.
and be
No,
safe.
which
If
makes
you're,
sense.
yeah, it does.
The truth of it is, all the customers got together and said, "We don't want him. He's grumpy enough when it's not hot."
Well, that's the truth of it, but I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to be self-deprecating. I'll leave that to you, Pete. That is
Right,
do you know what that does? I think it was Joe said earlier on. It does look like it has a smacking of olive about it, doesn't it?
It does.
it does a bit, yeah.
Yeah, it really
Doesn't
is
have the feel of
gorgeous.
it, unfortunately, but
No, but
Shit.
how are we doing for time? Oh, we're good.
We're
nah,
all
you're
right, mate.
okay.
It's only 1:15. Loads of time. Take your
Yeah,
time.
don't stop now.
There's
Can you
no-
hurry up, Pete? Can you rush your cuts, please?
Mike, don't
Finish the cuts, Mike.
don't your vehicles have air conditioning?
You're a funny Ruby.
Sorry, Ruby. Sorry.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, well, in actual fact, yes, we do. It's called a window.
You mean you literally don't have air conditioning?
No.
in it?
We literally do not have air conditioning, and the ironic part about it is the only office in the whole building that's got air conditioning is the inspector's
Management.
office.
Yeah, no
Not e-
surprise there.
Yeah, but not even the management have got air conditioning upstairs. Downstairs is air conditioned, and the cash room where we pay in with the cash machines, and everything else is non-air conditioned.
Brent has to go.
See you, Brent.
See you later, Brent.
He has
Cheers.
a kitchen renovation job on. Job from hell, he says. Oh dear. Well, do the best you can. Have a good day, Brent.
I used to see Brent regularly when I go up Toronto way to do demos at clubs up that way, but we haven't had any wood shows or teaching classes or even live club meetings in years now.
Well, we're back to wide open. Everything's open now.
We're not quite totally wide open. Any
Yeah.
medical facilities, you still have to wear masks and things.
Yeah, well that's
So
true.
do we.
That's true. If you go to the doctor's surgery, you still have to wear a mask. Other than that, or the hospitals obviously, but other than that, out in the street, there are very, very few people wearing masks.
We
And
still have quite a few here, and with the new variant that's coming around, a lot of people have gone back to wearing them.
Okay. Well, we're still having concerts and everything all happening. Thousands of people. Football matches are back on. 80,000 people in the stadium.
Wow.
You know, so
You wait till monkeypox hits properly.
yeah, the women's European football tournament was just on there. They were regularly having over 40,000 people in the grounds.
Yeah, monkeypox is different than the COVID, because monkeypox you have to actually physically contact the person.
Basically, yep.
Or something the person's touched.
Right.
If the person has touched, let's say, a towel or something like that,
Right.
and they still have the open wound from monkeypox, then it can be transmitted that way, apparently.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, it's, you know.
I mean, the COVID though can be transferred in the air.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're quite different.
Very much.
I lost the sanding pad I want to use. It's here somewhere, but I can't find it at the minute. Let Brian tidy that up.
I expect that's not the case. Certainly wasn't marked.
Totally off-piste this. I'm having great difficulty getting 3 pieces of 4-inch by 4-inch by 15-inch long beech or oak, would you believe?
Yeah.
So if anybody on here listening has any idea where I might get such a size of wood, I'd appreciate
4x4
it.
is difficult.
4x4
Yeah, I
by
know.
15. Oak.
Yeah.
Well, you
oak,
just buy some fence posts.
No, I need a hardwood. It's
Okay.
It's a project I'm doing for somebody. It's a commission, call it that, but it's
right. Beech is typically kiln dried, what you can buy in the shops, and they won't kiln dry anything over 2-inch.
No.
So you're going to have a job to get that, unless you can get in touch with a sawmill that's actually planking it up and get them to do it for you.
Yeah.
It's,
the biggest I've found is 3-inch.
Yeah. Most woods they won't kiln dry over 2 inches.
No.
Yeah, correct.
No.
Now, Woodwork Learner says he actually has one video up on his channel now. It's just drilling pen blanks, but it's the first one up.
Well done, buddy.
Good on you.
You've got to
so I've
start
got this
somewhere.
little void up here, which is I'm going to hand sand that. Um,
You know, you could fill it with like an epoxy that's colored black.
no, I couldn't.
No, he
That's
couldn't.
you.
It's an
That's
epoxy.
you. That's
He
you
says.
told Ruby.
No, it's
I think the nearest I'll ever get to epoxy, if I ever get there, is the Black CA glue.
no. I do use epoxy and I do colour it, but not on a rim. There you would need something hard, and that was just too much. That's too close to real resin, and you know, I'd have to send it to Brian to get that done. Yeah, well, Steve's busy, Lewis is busy, so it's probably you, Brian.
No, that's okay. As long as
You
I'm
can
the
send-
last resort, it's
You
fine.
can send it to me, Pete, and I'll just throw it out.
Yeah. Now, there's it's not going to show on the camera because it's
This one.
minor, but there is a slight ripple to that where the inclusion of the bark bit has sort of come off, and it's a slight colour to it as well. So I'm not going to go any further with that. That's fine as it is.
Yeah.
So this,
Can you blow that dust out, Pete?
so that link I've just chucked in the chat, guys, is for Rupert Anna. If you want to pop over, he's got a little 11-minute video there. If you want to pop over and have a look at his channel, see what he's been doing.
Lovely
Show
job.
him a bit of support.
Well done, Brian.
That is really gorgeous, that is.
And I'm not going to sand that at all. I'm just going. I was thinking about getting a Dremel in there and just sort of tidying it up, but I'm not going to.
Oh, natural.
Leave it as it is. Also means I can get on to the inside.
Clive is saying that he now has 2 videos on his channel, PowerPoint slideshow conversions.
Oh,
If you look at the large number of people that we have watching the different channels and the people that are on them, there's a lot of information and knowledge stored within the group.
all right. Huge amount.
There's another little tip from our course is rather than use a coarser grit, if 120 isn't quite doing it, get a fresh piece of 120.
Agreed.
Don't need to on this one, but that was a good tip. And your tendency is to think, oh, I need to go down to 80, but sometimes that puts in scratches that you don't want.
And I
Fresh
think as
piece.
well, with sandpaper, people tend, and it's not because I've made of money, because I certainly aren't, but I very rarely use the same bit of sandpaper twice. If I've used it consistently, it'll go in the bin, because 120 when used does not become 180. It's
No, it just becomes blunt. That's it.
exactly.
Sometimes when I'm doing the inside of a bowl like that, if I use a 2-inch pad, I'll put a 3-inch piece of paper on it. And I find that the edges that way seem to flow with the curve as well.
Yes. These pads are actually 47 mil and the disc is 50 mil.
Yeah.
So there is a very small but noticeable overlap there.
William has joined us. Welcome, William.
Hi, William.
Hi, William. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Hi, William. And there's a link to Clive's channel, guys. He's got 2 short videos, so 3 and 4 minutes each. 3 or 4 minutes each. Look very nice. That he's got a little picture there. Oh, that's a blank one. Let's go back to that one. Clive. Woodwork beginner project sheep. And look, they're as cute could be.
They are.
Pop over and have a look at them.
I've
Super.
subbed.
Ooh.
Yeah, the wealthy wood turners like Mark and Brian, they've got
What did
compressors
you
and they
say?
just blow this dust out. But I can only afford a paintbrush.
Yeah, right enough. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just do a bit of hand sanding because where I've gone on a slight undercut there, it's just not easy to get at. So just going to very quickly just stick my finger in where that void is and hope it doesn't come off.
Woodwork Learner makes a good point that remember you can clean sandpaper with a rubber if it's only blocked up. And I've done that several times and found it works well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because
I
I
do that
use
on my belt sander all the
Yeah.
time.
I have a rubber block thing. You just rub on it, cleans it out.
Or if you use the Abranet, you just shake it and bang it a few times.
Yeah,
I've got some Abranet. I don't actually like using it.
I like Abranet on spindles. I
Yeah.
haven't got. I've got a little bit, I think, but I haven't got much of it now because we bought abrasive.
Sandpaper, yeah.
I just use that for everything now.
I have a selection pack. I think I got it from. I can't remember where I bought it from. Emma, the tiny turner I bought it from. It's a selection pack. That's it. Oh, I don't know, 80 grit.
I remember
80.
at the One Wood Show when they first came out with it, they came to me and gave me some pieces to use and demonstrate. And I said to them at that time they should be putting together packages that have a selection of the different grits and not just entire packages of all one grit.
Yeah. So this little sample pack that I've got starts at 80, 180, 240, 320 and 400. Which is perfect for us bolt turners. People who use Yorkshire grit. It's great.
Well, that was the 240 I just used. So guess what's happening next?
There may be
Sealer.
singing ahead.
Sanding
no.
sealer.
Sanding sealer next.
Yes, I shall.
You forgot, Brian.
I'm gonna
Yeah, I always
sing the
forget.
sand. I'm gonna sing the sanding sealer song.
It's that's why I've got use sealer first on my tub of Yorkshire grit.
You got that idea off me, mate.
I did indeed, Mike. I did indeed.
But I'm lazy, you
ideas
see.
from you, Mike.
When I've used a pot of Yorkshire grit, I just exchange the cap. I put the old cap on the new tin, so because I'm lazy like that.
Dr. Bob had the
Yeah, well, I'm not as old
157
as you two, so I can remember it.
Oh, don't you start.
I bet you've forgotten.
I haven't actually.
No, I don't believe you. I think you're lying.
Never on a bowl. On spindles, occasionally I don't bother with it.
That's very
But
good.
I don't very often use Yorkshire grit on spindles, but occasionally I do. Yeah, on spindles sometimes I don't bother with sanding sealer. I just put 2 lots of Yorkshire grit on. But that's because spindles very seldom drop below 2,000 RPM when I'm cutting them.
No, that's right.
Yeah, that's true. Aston says he uses ProNet, which is a kind of halfway house between sandpaper and Abranet.
Now I tried that and I didn't like it because the grit came off.
Yeah, it's also about a third of the price of Abranet. Maybe that's why.
I find with Abranet there are certain projects it doesn't really suit, especially sort of if you're going at 120, because the gaps in the net, although they do let the sawdust through, they can catch on things as well. So I just prefer ordinary cloth backed or
me too. I'm using
or fuzzy
that's
back.
all right. And
If I
that's
show
a
it to the
rhino.
camera, it doesn't work.
Say again, Pete.
You have to show it to the camera or it doesn't
You
work.
gotta show it to the camera or it doesn't work.
It's true. Apparently so. Well, that's what Glenn told us. Maybe it was just a promotional gimmick. I don't know.
I think it was. I'm really, really impressed with that wood, you know.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
it is a pretty
lovely
piece.
Turning was average. Turning was average.
A little bigger piece.
Turning was rubbish. Is that what you're saying there, Mike?
No, I didn't say rubbish. I said average.
Oh, average. Oh, sorry. I obviously misheard what you said there.
Yeah.
Well, average for me is rubbish for most.
Oh, average for you is top notch for me, mate.
See what I did wrong then?
No,
Yeah,
no.
you
Did you do something
banged
wrong?
something.
Yeah, I didn't turn the lathe down.
Ah,
Not quite so bad because it's on the inside, so you know it just throw itself around the inside of the bowl. But
Oh, it's a nice fresh tin.
Joe,
Oh.
Joe.
Yes. Hands of filtery can be soft.
You're not putting sand
sheltered
and sealer on then?
with
Done that.
white brown Yorkshire gritty.
if you're paying
You're not-
attention, Mike, you'd have noticed I did that first.
You're not paying attention, Mike.
I
See,
He's
was.
too busy
Mike,
talking. He's not watching.
Maybe I was joking.
Mike, when you're earworming, the idea is you're supposed to look at the screen, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
just in
but-
case you didn't know, like.
I would have thought my fellow earworms would have realised by now when I'm being serious and when I'm joking, but obviously not.
Well, we know when you're joking, Mike. Your lips are
Well-
moving.
Well, you have that sarcastic tone all the time, so it's hard to differentiate.
All right, so I
See that
didn't
piece of
realise.
paper? I didn't like that, so I just thought I'd throw that across the workshop.
That's the very thing. Oh, no. Oh, there we go. Whoosh. Grip the paste, not the semi-liquid. Yeah,
It
that's
actually
the
is a
one.
good thing because I've got this bulk pack of rolls that I don't like.
Hmm.
So the
you
sooner I can
usually
throw them
find
all
that's
across
the
the workshop, the
case?
better. Yeah,
That's funny. That's funny.
You
Yeah.
go out and get a load of something, and you find that it's not what you thought it was going to be.
Hmm.
yeah. I don't actually know
Yeah.
why it's not good. It just isn't. But,
Don't like the
Well,
feel of it.
Yeah.
I find that with earworms, Joe.
You need to be careful what you say next, Mr. Walt, or you may have no earworms. Yeah, I
we
bought
don't
some.
need him. He keeps cancelling on us.
Well, that's
Oh,
true. Aye.
Another bit of paper in the wind.
You're sharp
Oh.
today, aren't you?
Yeah. See, I am watching.
So I've knocked the speed up a bit.
Oh, if Douglas Mungham's got the
And-
right answer, you must have had a little nap there because you're so old, Mike.
Thank you, Douglas.
Brian, you better be careful.
Why?
People who live in glass houses shouldn't throw
This is
stones.
Yeah.
This is true, Rubes. This is true.
This is true. We all know that Brian's 106 years old.
Oh, now stop it now. I'm 168.
That's, I'm glad I'm welcome, Douglas. That's very kind of you. Do you know, I'll tell you what, that bowl looks so off-centre from this angle.
It does, aye.
It really does.
Looks like it's going to fall out of the chuck any minute now.
Yeah. Well, that's the Axminster precision chuck, you see.
Now,
Well,
when you're
definitely.
turning, it doesn't matter what chuck you have. It's a good idea to periodically just tighten it up and check and make sure it's held on.
Yeah, but it's not moving at all. It's fine.
Terry
Um,
Bartlett's
But of course,
cropping
I'm not
out
actually
things.
using the SK114 today.
No, it's his predecessor by
It's,
many years.
It's official. Give Brian a day off from the SK114 day. So.
Yeah.
And he says, I thought it was only 114. That would be SK114 again.
Now I've got
Well,
those next to me so I can look at them and admire them, but I'm not
I'm
using
going to
them
have
today.
to appeal to Axminster's better nature and see will they send me one. What do you think? What's the chances?
There's your Hampshire sheen.
Good luck with it.
Same as the outside.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah. They're getting plenty of advertising every time
Yeah.
I'm on a channel.
They are.
Yeah, they definitely do.
True.
I think it would be more fitting, actually, for Record Power to send you another Nova to keep your loyalty, Brian.
Yeah, another
Record
SC4.
Power has their own chucks.
You do SC4s, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I've got. I've got SC4.
Yeah, those
Record
aren't
Powers.
Nova chucks.
No, but they're Nova compatible.
No, okay.
There's been lots of discussion about this, but it actually states it on the Record Power
It does.
website that they fit Nova jaws.
They do. Their jaws are
Um,
compatible with Nova and Robert Sorbet Patriot chucks.
Chris Dodds has
So,
just said, sorry, go on.
So if you're looking for a chuck with a good jaw range, you can look across multiple chuck ranges to get jaws for the Nova, Record Power, or Sorby Patriot,
Yep.
and possibly some others that I don't know about. But definitely those three are.
What was that one you got the other day, Pete? You got the
Oh, the Versa chuck.
Versa chuck.
Did you get that from the tool post, Pete?
I got it from Beaufort Inc.
All right.
I did a little review on it, unboxing video on it. Didn't do a review as such, but unboxing. I'm using it to drive my coal jaws because I got fed up with putting the coal jaws on and off a chuck because they're heavy.
Hmm.
I've got the 16-inch coal jaws, so they're a bit outside the norm. But the Versa chuck will have carriers for Record Power, Vic Mark, Axminster, and of course their own jaws. So I'm hoping when they've got a stock back in of the chucks, I will actually do a review of the chuck. Because when I did the unboxing, I actually bought the last one they had. So there's no point doing a review when they haven't got any.
Hmm.
Oh, thanks, Shane. Shane Hurst says, Brian, I had that discussion with Colin at the AAW. I'm sure Colin even knows who I am. Woodwork Leonard makes a valid point. He says you just need a better jaw for the SC4. Yeah, something like the O'Donnell jaws would be nice.
Chris Dodds has said, Mike, I wasn't, see, he's behind me. I wasn't asleep when you put the sanding sealer on. He said you were just checking the inside of your eyelids. Well, that's what I tell my wife.
Yeah, indeed, Robert. I've tried that a few times too. It doesn't work. She didn't believe me either. Oh, he does know me, does he? Oh, oops.
Oh, where did that come from?
I wonder how that happened. Oh, he does know me because he was on. He was on Steve's. Oh, go away. Colin was on Steve's channel as a guest earworm when I was on. That's right enough. He does know me.
What a nice little bowl.
Yeah, I should say.
That's lovely. It's a beautiful piece of wood, Pete. Absolutely stunning.
Incredible piece of wood.
Good job, mate.
Kept enough of that void to keep me happy. Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, how are you planning to take your tenon off?
I'll just use either the cold jaws or a friction plate. Probably a friction plate, actually. I've got a mark in the center, so it'd be easy to line it back up.
I was going to say, because you have the undercut, if you use the coil jaws with the expansion mode, that would hold.
Yeah, I could use a cold jaws and expansion or compression. It would work.
Not an SC4 amongst them. I don't know.
But yeah,
I'm saying nothing.
That's the demo for today. It's
excellent.
An hour and 40 minutes, so hopefully you've all got an extension on your lunch breaks.
No, it's
And,
extension on your lunch break. I haven't had my lunch yet. I'll have to go and get it now.
Thanks for coming in. Oh, look at that little arrangement down there.
That's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, go away, Pete.
It looks really nice again. Yeah, against the precision chuck and the SK114, the O'Donnell jaws. You got the big gripper jaws as well, holding the bowl. What a combination!
I'm not looking.
What a combination!
I'd like to say a big thank you to my earworms who do a cracking job always.
Quick favour, Pete, before you go, can you put your depth gauge in the picture as well for Mark?
Oh yes.
Just stick that in the O'Donnell jaws. Just prop it up in the O'Donnell jaws, and the job will be done.
I can't believe it.
So boys will be boys.
I know. Terrible.
I know.
There you go.
Oh,
Now
good
that's
fun.
a complete picture.
Oh, look. I'm not looking again.
That was actually Procraft sent out an email. They're doing a special offer on these little mini depth gauges. which is that bit in there.
Yeah,
You've got the wrong camera.
This little one here, Pete.
Yeah, that's the one.
I think you don't
So
see it.
I just basically drew around it, got a chisel, chopped it in, and sprayed it black.
Good for you.
So
I think I may
so
do the
obviously
same thing.
that's not what happened. What I did is I went on the darknet and illegally bought a copyright rip-off of
Yeah.
Mark's.
Ripped off Mark's design, yeah. Quite right, Pete.
But, that's it, folks. Thanks very much for coming in.
Don't forget that Steve's on tonight.
Steve's on instead of Brian tonight.
Not sure what time he's coming in. Maybe 7:45 or 8 o'clock. Be in around that time.
Yeah. Have you got a link for his channel you can chuck in?
No, he hasn't done it yet. He's at work. He'll do it when he gets home.
Well, SK Crafts. You all know him
Yep.
anyway.
Yeah. Everybody knows.
And
You'll get a notification if you're sub to his channel anyway.
we'll see you there. Cheers, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Take
Have
care.
a good
Cheers.
day, everyone.